The Blood Path.
Hello, happy World Braille Day. World Braille Day is celebrated on 4th January yearly to honor the birth of Braille's inventor, Louis Braille. Louis Braille lost his eyesight as a child when he was around 10 years old. What happened was that he accidentally stabbed himself in the eye. On this day, people were born blind. Blind, but a more inclusive word to use is visually impaired. So we would say that on this day, the visually impaired people were born blind, and people who have lost their eyesight in the course of life are celebrated. It's essential to know that people the visually impaired usually relate with the world through touch. They touch things, they touch people in order to get a sense of the world. But COVID-19 came, and the social distancing that came with it, and they've not been able to relate with the world as they've always known it. It's essential for us to celebrate them on this day. So on the show today, we'll be doing three things on the show. Stay with us. We'll go on a short break and we'll be right back with you. Thank you.
The Blood Path.
Welcome back. My name is Oluwatosin Mugbadu, and this is Plant Path Podcast. Plant Path Podcast is your place, your number one place for SDG 4 quality education conversations. It is brought to you by Plant Path Consult, your choice hub for news, resources, consults, trainings, and collaborations. In fact, everything SDG 4 quality education. Today, as we said, today is World Braille Day, and we are doing three things on the show today. Firstly, is that we are raising awareness. Okay, so we are spreading the word about Braille. Braille is not a language, as you might have previously misconstrued. Braille is not a language; it's an alphabet system that uses 6 dots to form letters, words, and sentences. Let's encourage families with visually impaired kids to learn Braille. No persons with visual impairment or persons with disabilities should be tucked under the sheets in the houses, or be shut behind doors. In Nigeria, you can contact the Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind. They are in Lagos. In fact, people from all over the country come here. The visually impaired persons. The Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind offers academic, vocational, and even peer support for persons living with the visually impaired. And there are other centers, schools, special schools that people can learn how to read the Braille. Very, very important that people who are visually impaired are given a chance to learn how to read the Braille. The second thing we're doing on the show today is that you can give somebody a gift in Braille. You can give somebody a gift in Braille. Look for something nice in Braille and give to somebody, and I think that's a very nice and exciting thing to do. Thirdly, we're encouraging you to learn how to read Braille. That is a top education skill. If you possess it, more money for you, and of course you can even volunteer this skill in NGOs and in foundations that will need your services. Thank you very much. We'll be going on a short break, and we'll come back to tell you a few tips that would help us in educating the visually impaired and persons living with disabilities in our society.
The Blood Path.
All right, welcome back to the show. This is Plant Path Podcast, your number one place for conversations in SDG 4 quality education. Plant Path Podcast is brought to you by Plant Path Consult, your number one choice for news, resources, trainings, consultations, and collaborations. In fact, everything quality education. All right, we have three tips for you today. Everything is three today. We have three tips for you today. Three tips for educating visually impaired persons. Number one, we would always reiterate this: physical disability is not the same as mental disability. One of the smartest persons I've met, and I'm not even exaggerating this, is a man, Mr. Ojemen. I've forgotten his first name now. I can't recall his first name at the moment. Mr. Ojemen, I met him at Federal Nigeria Society for the Blind during a consulting contract that we had. He was a mathematics teacher before he lost his eyesight. And trust me, this man is intelligent. In fact, he currently works in a school in Lagos State government, in Lagos State, as a public school. He's employed by the government as a mathematics teacher. So physical disability such as losing one's eyesight and having to use the braille is not the same thing as mental disability. It doesn't necessarily translate into mental disability. People with disabilities, having that disability, usually, in fact, it just poses as a barrier to accessing learning. So everybody that has this disability, visual impairment, that needs to use the braille should be given an equal opportunity to education, because a physical disability is not the same thing as a mental disability. Thank you very much for that. Secondly, is that we should realize that when we are dealing with people with disabilities, we need to activate our humanity. Activate our humanity. Don't just treat these persons as statistics, or they are blind people. That Nigerian thing people do, or even out of the country, some people just treat people, oh, they are blind and they don't matter. Activate your humanity when you're dealing with persons with disability. Empathy should be our watchword as we interact with these persons. Educators and workers should come to these people with humility. A lot of humility is required, and empathy, when you're dealing with persons living with disabilities, persons, visually impaired persons. As much as you're an expert in your subject area, in your field, the truth is that you are not an expert in all human beings, and in fact you are not even an expert in that person. So first of all, you need to come with a lot of humility, be willing to learn the person, be willing to ask for feedback, because usually the person, they know where it pinches the most. They can give you a lot of feedback that will even help your work, and you will have productive results with these persons as you deal with them. Please, so you come with a lot of humility. You're activating your humanity, you're coming with humility and activating an empathy as you relate to these persons. Be willing to learn, and you would really enjoy working with them. Thirdly, is that collaboration is very important. I mean, players in education sector, everybody needs to collaborate together. The parents are important, the educators, support staff are very important. That person, that cleaner in your school that helps that child to get from the bathroom to the class, that helps the child to move around school, or that maybe they don't even help physically because the child can use a white cane and all of that, but they are actively looking out for that child's well-being. Everybody is very important. The school management, governing board, because policies have to be put in place to help these children access rails, toilets, different classes, the dining, the fields, to make sure that the school environment is safe for them, and even learning spaces are safe for them. Collaboration is very important. And I would also like to say this, that aside professionals in the education field, there are experts and professionals outside school that will find their knowledge, and they would have resources to help. For example, a doctor would have resources to help us, you understand? Maybe resources, information, maybe business people, medical staff, therapists, consultants, people like that. That even community people that already know the child, these persons are very essential in educating persons living with disabilities, in educating the visually impaired people, you understand? Because it actually still takes a community to raise a child. It takes a community to raise a child with visual impairment, and we need everybody to collaborate. So remember these three things that we already said, that physical impairment is not the same thing as mental impairment. That's the first thing. Secondly, is that you need to activate your humanity when you're dealing with persons, visually impaired persons living with disability. You have to come with humility and show a lot of empathy. Thirdly is that we all are collaborating within school, outside school, in society, with government, in order to ensure that persons living with disabilities, the visually impaired persons, have access to Braille, are encouraged to read Braille, and they have an equal opportunity to life and schooling. All right, thank you very much. I think this has been an amazing episode with you. Thank you for listening. All right, let's conclude with this amazing fact. Amazing fact. Did you know that we have toys in Braille? In fact, Lego, Monopoly, Ludo, and a lot of games are now in Braille. Such an amazing time to be alive. Such an amazing time to be in the world. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen to other episodes of our podcast. This is Plant Path Podcast, your number one place for conversations in SDG for quality education. It's brought to you by Plant